gardening friends, welcome to the New Garden. I'm John Dromgoole, your host on this weekly program about gardening, organic gardening in this country. Today we're at Peaceable Kingdom School. It's a real interesting place. True to the name, Peaceable Kingdom, as you come up, you'll be greeted by an assortment of animals, dogs, cats, ramdosses out there. But today we're going to visit with the director of the Peaceable Kingdom School. Her name is Libby Winston. Let's go visit with Libby out in the garden and see what they're going to be planning today and find out about this special place where you learn about gardening techniques. Good morning, Libby.
Good morning, John.
How are you doing?
Fine. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. It's wonderful to be here.
Well,
it's a gorgeous place you've got going. Tell me about Peaceable Kingdom.
Well, this is our 20th year being chartered public nonprofit school, and we have classes on the weekends in the spring and fall, mostly for adults. Although we do close in January and August because it's either too cold or too hot for most people. We have 152 acres, and we have part of it run as a native plant program. We have a herbarium, gardens. In fact, the place got its name because originally my mother came up and saw a Harlequin Great Dane with a cat asleep on top of it, and she just looks like the Peaceable Kingdom, and it stuck.
Tell me about some of the classes going on. I know I saw a field out there in production that is in the permaculture technique. Do you teach permaculture out here?
We do. We teach permaculture techniques. And very often we find that they're an extension of things that have been done for eons with common sense and a little technology added. Common sense goes a long way with everything here.
Some of the other classes are garden-oriented, composting, for example?
Yes, composting is, we think that if you get the soil right, then the plants can take care of themselves. I really think organic gardening is providing the optimum conditions for nature to function, and then you kind of leave nature to it.
When you started working out here originally, how did you begin to build the soil? I'm sure you couldn't make enough compost.
No, I couldn't. Actually, I got on our old tractor, which is almost as old as I am, and put a disc on the back of it and got a 50-pound sack of vetch, which is a legume that's a green manure. It fixes nitrogen, and just started throwing it over my shoulder. I didn't have a seeder like this, and it was fascinating because it woke up all the native vetches and the other legumes and the grasses. And after 3 or 4 years, some of the ranchers came up and looked at this grass, and boy, if I'd known all that grass was there, I'd have gotten that place myself, you know. Well, it wasn't there.
Tell us about the structures. If there were no houses here and you went off and built your own house, it looks like there's a wide assortment of greenhouses and other outbuildings around here. An architectural barn up there. Tell us about these buildings.
Well, many of them are built by loving hands at home, which means that one of the things we do here is that I think that the world in general has gotten far too specialized, and people are very intimidated by the idea of, you know, your plumbing, fixing your kitchen sink or your car, or, you know, doing a little carpentry or whatever.
I see you using a lot of recycled materials. One of the walls in there is all bottles. It looks like a firewood wall is in another section of one of the buildings in the little store. You've got a little store here. Are these things that are made on the property?
These are, yes, they are indeed. The one in the front of the store, if we try something new, we do it small first, is their motto. Then we went from that to building the little residence house over here, the cordwood building. Very, very old method of building.
You use a lot of environmentally sound techniques. For example, I see solar water heaters.
Yes.
You use drip irrigation systems.
Homemade, I might say.
Homemade. Is that one homemade?
Yeah.
Drip irrigation systems out here to conserve water. What else do y'all do in that area?
Well, we just about everything here is connected in some way. If you really think about it, nature recycles, period. That's all there is to it.
The main job. Huh?
Yeah. And all of our animals have various uses. There are many, many plants that have multiple uses. For instance, we'll take weeds. If we pull up seedy weeds, throw them into the chicken coop. The chickens eat the seeds and start preparing it, and we put some hay in there too. Then the hay goes next door to the compost and starts getting made into compost. And next door to that are the rabbits who have earthworms under them, and that goes into the compost. And it's just a big circle, and the compost comes back out to the garden, and then the old things come out of the garden and go back to the chickens. And, you know, the food goes into the house and comes out to the compost, I think that compost is the center of the world.
I think that in the kitchen also I saw a tier of recyclables separating almost everything, huh?
Yeah. Yes,
plastic,
we do.
Aluminum, the whole gambit of recyclable material.
If we have to use it, we certainly do try to recycle it.
One of the big things I see are a lot of antique roses out here too. You've really moved into that area now.
Well, it's pretty irresistible, but they're also extremely useful. We use the hips for soup. We use the petals for potpourri and for cooking, eating raw, and they're good for the soul.
It looks like today one of the projects it seems that you're going to do is collect flowers.
Today we were thinking about a lot of flowers and potpourri things, and there are a couple of herbs that are ripe, and so we'll do that, and we'll put them in the drying room.
The ladies come out and work in the field as soon as it dries up a little bit, as soon as the dew is gone?
Yeah.
Let's go visit with some of the ladies and see how this project works on making potpourri.
Okay. This area actually was grown specifically for our products. And the beds are laid out so that they're 4 by 8, which is a very comfortable reach for most of us to reach across. And we can cover them easily in the winter.
Well, let's look at potpourris then for a little while. Calendulas.
To talk about. These are calendulas, Calendula officinalis, which is actually, whenever you see officinalis, you know a plant's been used since Greek and Roman times.
Is that what it means?
Yeah. They're not only beautiful in potpourri, the petals are edible. They're wonderful medicinal. They're in a lot of really fine European cosmetics, which we can certainly use out here.
Yes, I've seen them in many hand salves, right.
Yeah. And they make a beautiful dye, too. So we use it for all of them.
This is one that is ready to be removed.
That needs to be removed. Now, you want to go down and cut just above a node where the leaf is, so that it will come out from right in the section where the leaf is. Yeah.
And that's where the new flower will form right after this.
Right. Now, if you're in a hurry and it's about to rain and you've got to, get your harvest in, you can go through and do like this, but please don't leave the bloody stump. Come back the next day and say, thank you, thank you. I always, when we prune, we think about the shape of the plant and the health of the plant.
But the pruning is beneficial. It's not hurting the plant at all.
Very beneficial. If you want seeds, like, for instance, basil, if you don't prune basil flowers off, the basil will go to seed, no more leaf. All it cares about are the seeds. It doesn't care about its leaves. It doesn't care about anything else. So we keep our basil deadheaded all summer until fall. Then we let it, when it's good and woody, go to seed, and that's what tells us when to plant the next year. It knows when to come up better than we do.
Now today you're cutting these for the potpourri?
Yes, And we'll remove the part of the calendula that you use is just the petals. So you can either dry them, cut this off, just the head off, and dry them face down, in which case they're quite pretty on top of a potpourri, or pull the petals out.
Is there no problem with the plants being so close together?
No, now this time of year, there isn't. If it were very hot and rainy, there would be because of aeration. But this, for example, is lemon balm. Our cupboard is empty of lemon balm now, so this is exactly what we need to cut and dry. And this is another multiple use plant. It's a mint that's not invasive. Wonderful lemon smell. Loves being cut, makes a great tea, and we use it for what's called a filler in potpourri. The trick with these is you want to cut everything so that it grows better. Okay, this is the mint family, and they all have square stem and opposed leaves. See the little leaves coming right here?
Right.
The base? Okay, if I were to cut that theoretically there, then that would make 2 more branches.
So that's what remains down on the plant in the ground there, and this begins to grow again, and next week there's another harvest.
Next week it's fatter.
When you buy one, it's generally just a small plant. Is it a good idea to pinch it out?
Sure is.
Are we harvesting this today?
Time is the same way, yes. We are. We can...
There's some status over here, too. You've got a lot of stuff out in this garden.
Oh, it's so much fun.
I kind of thought that status was difficult to grow. You seem to only purchase it.
Oh, well, yes, it does seem that way. We seem to be able to grow it very well. I think the main thing we found is that although it likes water, it doesn't like to have a wet crown.
What about harvesting?
Well, harvesting, every little spot like this is going to produce another status. So since we use absolutely every iota of status that we have, we'll cut back to these little spots.
Here's the stem that you're looking at right there, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I might want to cut back to here because that will encourage it to come out here and here. Okay, these aren't quite open yet. This little white part, or in some cases yellow, is the flower. These are the bracts. And that's what you actually see when you see status in the store.
Now, do you want them to be kind of spent or just starting their cycle?
No, these you pick when they're pretty much open. A lot of flowers that you pick, if you're going to pick them for dried arrangements, you pick when they're just opening, because they continue to grow and especially in warm drying rooms. Some of them you can't even put in a warm drying room or it'll just turn to seed.
Status is a nice one in that it comes in a lot of colors, too.
Yes, it does. We have some wonderful status over there.
We taking some rosemary today?
Yeah. Rosemary, as I was saying, rosemary is in the same mint family. Okay, if I cut that here, then it's going to sprout some more here. And I especially want to do that. By the way, you cut on an angle. Just get in the habit of doing that.
Why is that?
Well, especially with woody things, if you don't, you leave a flat stump here that the water can get into. And you want your cutters to be very sharp so that you don't injure the plant and the bugs don't come in.
So the angle is to have that dewdrop run away from there each morning and not sit there and cause some decay.
Yeah, and as I say, it's even more important with very woody things. Rosemary is another of those plants that has so many uses, and it's, again, officinalis, rooted in antiquity, as it were. It's, of course, rosemary is for remembrance.
Looks like the ladies are busy at work.
Oh, boy, how beautiful. Oh, they're so pretty. I have some more to add to the larder here later.
These are some of those other colors of status we were talking about.
Yes. I love these sort of sunset ones.
What else do we have in the garden out here that is going to the potpourri?
This is wonderful for potpourri. This is a old-fashioned cottage pink. There's several varieties of it. They're called clove pinks because they smell like cloves.
So these are one of the edible flowers too, then, aren't they?
Now, at the base of the flower, often with roses and with these, there'll be a little white, and that's sometimes bitter. This is the part that you eat. Want a bite?
Yes, I do.
But these are fragrant dried. Many flowers dry darker, and these will too.
That is a nice clove flavor.
If you were not saving seed, you'd go ahead and pinch these off. They might bloom a little bit more.
You got nasturtiums here.
Yes, nasturtiums have a wonderful flavor.
Not good for potpourri, but good for cooking?
No, good for cooking.
Salads.
And salad, and some of them are very fragrant. And some of them are very, very hot. Peppery hot. They're a member of the caper family.
They are, I see. And the leaves are edible, too.
The leaves are, too, yeah. And they're very pretty.
Do roses go into the potpourri?
Oh, absolutely. The delphiniums can go in. Now, often we'll keep them whole. In this climate, we grow them as a annual. They don't take the summers. My, look at that.
That's a beauty.
Yeah, that is.
That goes in the potpourri also?
Well, it can, or you can hang it upside down. Most of the flowers you hang upside down and use it in dried arrangements.
Are the potpourris all flowers, or do you use some of the green material or other colors?
We use rosemary, and we have, some of them are made to repel moths. They have wormwood in them, and southernwood, and bay, rosemary, lavender.
Let's go to the drying room and the preparation area and see how the finished product finally is made.
Okay.
Okay?
That sounds
good.
good.
Do that.
This one has a dehumidifier in it, and we dry some things that can take it a little warmer, like lemon peel. What we do here, because once you dry something, you think you'll recognize it after you've labored over it forever and ever. We label these racks. And, for instance, this one has some of the rose petals like they just picked in it. This also, since it's dated and says where it comes from, this tells us that these are probably ready. These are not quite ready. You want them to be crisp. And when they're good and crisp, that's when you know that they're done, so to speak. After we have them here, we take them and put them in a screw-top glass jar. The kind that pig's feet and pickles come in, it's great. Get people to collect them for you. Plastic is no good. Not only does it breathe and absorb the smells, but it's just not airtight. I don't know how bugs will get into it, but they do.
What is the temperature in this room?
It shouldn't be over 90, and 90 is pretty high. Oh, here we have some parsley. And you see, this is ready. See how it crumbles? That's ready to come out. And nice green color. Don't want it too hot. Don't do it in a microwave or do it in an oven. You're better off even just, if you don't have a drying room, just take it and lay it out on a cookie sheet. Or we use enamel and glass. We don't like to use metal with our herbs because metal reacts with some plants. So stainless steel is okay. Some things, if you keep turning them, you can dry in a sieve like this. This is plastic coated. But you just come in once a day and do like that, and if they're on your kitchen counter, and that's sufficient. As long as you don't wad it up too much, it's not going to mildew. You don't need a drying room. This is just because we have such volume.
Let's take a look at what we've harvested a little while ago and where it's going next.
This is a cool drying room, and many flowers, like the globe amaranth, if you put them in a warm place, they'll turn to fluff, and it's really quite embarrassing. You go in and you have this whole tray full of, looks like, kind of like cotton. This, by the way, is an allium. We wholesale them to the florist, I think, for $1 a piece. Now, if you go out in your garden to eat it, it's a garlic. So garlic, of course, is one of the things with many, many uses, medicinal and ornamental and bug repellent.
So today's harvest will be hung up in this room here?
Yes, it's pretty empty right now because the harvest for this year is just coming in. We've used most of the one for last year.
Some of the flowers are the ones that have the seed pod on them. Are they in here for the purpose of extracting the seed?
Yes, we can extract the seed that way, and sometimes we'll just store them that way.
Now the next step, I guess, is to put them up, make some blends for potpourri, and potpourri basically a blend of the different flowers?
Yes, it is, and then some bases, and Mary Catherine knows all about that.
Let's go visit with Mary Catherine and see what she's doing.
Okay.
Libby said that you all were the experts in this end of the harvest, that once we've gotten all of the flowers dried and brought out of the drying rooms, they come over here to you all. And Catherine's your daughter. And then you all are in charge of custom blending the potpourris out here.
Right, Libby grows it and the ladies dry it, and we get to take it and play around with it and come up with a product.
I heard that you had come up with a new product.
Well, we've had a lot of calls. We have a lot of men come out here, and they like the idea of potpourri, but they don't want some of the lot of flowers. They don't want it real feminine looking. So what we're trying to do is come up with one for men.
A little more masculine.
A little more masculine, yeah. That will have a real nice outdoorsy scent.
How did you decide to come up with this blend for men?
Well, we're just sort of working on it. This is bay leaves, and so bay is sort of a woodsy scent.
Yes,
so we're going to start with bay leaves, and then this is something we thought about adding. We had one of the guys down in the wood shop do some pine curls off some wood. And the pine, this potpourri will have a fixative to hold the scent, but the pine is sort of neat looking and woodsy and more for a man, and it will help hold that oil in there. So we're just, okay, is this, wait, slow down, let's see, 4 cups?
What do you have, 2 cups of bay leaves and 2 cups of pine curls?
4 cups, did we put 4 cups of bay leaves? We just sort of, the way we start out doing one, we just sort of take what we have available and mix it up and then see if the scent, if we like it and how it looks. So we play around. Let's add citrus peel. We're going to add some mixed citrus peel, a cup. Let's put a cup in, so that'll be sort of, add a little citrus flavor there. And it doesn't look too feminine. We dry all our citrus, every bit of citrus that we eat out here, well, we save all the peels, the limes. We make a lot of lemonade, limeade, and we save all the peels and dry them.
What doesn't go to the compost pile comes to the drying room.
Right, we get first choice though. So, okay, 2 cups of, it's mixed. This is mixed citrus peel, lime and orange and lemon, and it'll smell nice and look pretty. We've collected a lot of pine cones all around in this area, but they're all too big, so we've got little hemlock cones, and everyone thinks they're pine cones, but they're just, Let's do some cinnamon, like some crushed cinnamon. Because cinnamon, all the spices are real nice.
Now, where would this be used? In, like in a bedroom or in an open container of some kind?
Right, you could, I tell you what, a lot of people like to do is have like wooden boxes, and you can shut it up and it keeps the sunlight from fading it, and it helps hold that scent. And then when you have visitors or guests, you know, or when you just want to open it up, and then it releases that scent. But if you can, this potpourri will last a lot longer if it's shut in a dark box. And you can get such pretty boxes now that it's real nice to have, you know, a potpourri shut up and run. Or you could just put it in a bowl and leave it sitting out and just refresh it if the scent started fading. The sunlight will fade all the herbs.
So don't put it in a bright window.
Right.
Keep it away.
But it's real nice to have both of it sitting out, and if you like the scent. A lot of people, we do one for the bathrooms out here because it's real nice, and you have a real nice scent in there.
It's a nice little workspace you designed for yourself, having everything close at hand.
All the things that we use, our measuring cups, are right here, all our oils, all our ribbons if we're doing sachets, our recipe books. Down below we have baskets and jars of herbs and all our bowls that we use. And then right behind us, these are the herbs and flowers that we use constantly. We jar them up from the drying rooms and bring them out here. So all we have to do is turn around. It's like, this is a very small area. It's not even 7 feet across. So I mean, you could take like part of your closet and do this because it's real nice to have everything right at hand. Oh, we're going to put a little star anise because it smells wonderful.
That's a nice one, yes.
And
I
it's
like
so
it.
attractive.
Such a pretty seed
Well,
pod,
So
Very nice. That does have a great scent.
the spices will last longer in potpourri than oils. The oils will dissipate a lot.
How long can a potpourri last before it has to be recharged?
Well, it depends on what you do with it. I have some in a wooden box I've had at home about 4 years and still smells just like when I made it. But I keep it shut up and I only open it if I have somebody around that I want to smell it. So, oh, you want to put some allspice? Just pour the rest of that. Wait, we got.
Let's see here. That's a great smell.
Let's just pour all of this.
These really all are kind of masculine smells. They have that rich, strong spice odor to them.
And a sort of woodsy. We're going to put, let's put sandalwood. Okay, we use orris root as the fixative. It's the root of the Florentine iris.
Now, what's the purpose of the fixative?
To hold the, whatever oil you put in to help hold that scent.
It looks like you've got nearly 10 cups of different things or so in there.
This is going to be roughly, it's probably 1.5 gallons. Our recipes go by gallons usually because we make so much. And sandalwood, let's put sandalwood. We probably use 1/4 cup of orris root and a tablespoon of oil or so. Depends on how strong you want the scent from the oil. When you make it, it needs to be shut in a tight jar in a dark place for like 6 weeks to mix. And these little pieces of wood will help pick up that oil. So it'll help hold that scent too.
Is this one ready now except for adding the orris root? Is that...
Most of ours we just make in bulk and sell by, people like to look at them, a lot of it in a container, and then get an idea of how it's going to look at home.
What's that last thing there?
Oh, we came up with this. It really is neat. We put little amber beads in it. And so if you have it sitting in a bowl, like you sit it in a bowl, and you sit it like where it catches maybe a little of the light, these little beads will pick up the light. So we're doing this for men, where it doesn't look too, they'll just sort of reflect the light. See, I can see them shining in there now. It doesn't even have to be the light, the light.
What you mean, though. Mary Kay, thanks a lot for showing us what you all do here with the harvested crop. And Catherine, thanks for helping out today, too. That's a beauty.
Isn't that pretty?
Well, I certainly hope you enjoyed today's visit to Peaceable Kingdom School. This is a fine place. It's one of those places where you can spend a weekend and learn all about organic gardening. Many techniques are practiced out here. You can attend classes on composting. One of the other things that they do is seed saving, and soil building is another one of the practices out here. But this little program about potpourri I thought was real useful, especially for those of you who have nice, colorful gardens at home and aren't quite sure what to do besides cut the flowers and take them in. You can make some fine potpourris. Well, I'll be back here on The New Garden next week, and we'll take another look at organic gardening in the United States. I'm John Dromgoole.